Everybody, and welcome back to another episode of Coffee with the Critters, where I live stream every Sunday morning at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on a topic or a Q&A or something like this, nails to tails, unless I have a guest on, which I will live stream at 9 o'clock to give a full hour. And I haven't live streamed for the past 2 weeks because I've been on vacation for 2 weeks. So it's good to be back. It was good to get away and be with family. But anyways, for those that may be new, good morning. My name is Laura Joseph, owner of the Animal Behavior Center. We're an international educational center where we teach people all over the world how to empower animals through enrichment, positive reinforcement training, and modifying behavior and applied behavior analysis. We do that through our services where you can find on our website at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. There you will find out more about what we are about, what we do, why we do it, and how we do it. Also, good morning, everybody. Hey, it's good to be back. I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, okay, I haven't live streamed Coffee with the Critters in 3 weeks. It's been nice having a little break as me and my family were off in the Caribbean. So you can find out more about our work on the Animal Behavior Center's website. You can also find out what we do if we have upcoming. And we're planning another workshop, so bear with us. It's happening. You can find out about our events here on our Facebook page, or you can find out about them on our website. And my speaking events are booking. I am booking up through the end of the year and into next year. You can also sign up for our email newsletter list right here and on our Facebook page or on our website as well. You can always get in touch with me personally by emailing me at Laura, Lara, at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. That comes directly to me, and I am the only one that answers my emails. So pay attention to Karen helped me figure out a timeline for all the Coffee with the Critters for the rest of, let's see, up through October. And we've got people scheduled on there for interviews. So pay attention. We don't post that schedule anywhere because sometimes last minute I'll change up what we're talking about. So good morning, everybody. Welcome back. I missed so many people. I was texting with a lot of people while I was gone. We ended up going down to St. Thomas and St. Kitts, where, oops, I didn't mean to do that. St. Thomas and St. Kitts, where I did a lot of this. Nothing. Spent a lot. See that blue emerald water behind me? This is the only picture I uploaded of me on vacation, but this was one day after we just got done swimming at an island, snorkeling at an island in St. Thomas, where I was swimming above and trying to dive down close to, but keeping my distance from sea turtles and stingrays. And then afterwards, we went to another island in St. Thomas called Water Island, and where all we saw was this water in a restaurant, and they had their trash outside was a plastic bag hanging from a tree, and I was like, that's my kind of vacation. And this is me drinking my rum punch. I'll admit, this is my third one. And I was getting into the water with it and just had a blast, had a blast with my family. And it was my husband's family. Well, is my husband's family, but we're already planning some things for the future and our next vacation. So it's good to be back. And enough about that. I'm refreshed and ready to go. I missed so many people here at the center and at the zoo. Got a lot of photos of people just saying hello while I was gone, and even some FaceTimes. Got to see my animals. The volunteers and the employees here at the Animal Center, Behavior Center, were sending me videos of my animals, which did my heart good. Julie Kessinger, who was taking care of my dogs at home, was taking selfies of her throughout the house with my dogs, teaching my dogs all kinds of bad things while I'm gone. No, I'm just kidding. She didn't. She did a great job. But so nails to tails, what I do is it's my behavior modification plan for myself, where I go through my phone and old photos and videos that need to be filed that I'm horrible at doing. So my desktop is full of photos and videos that need to be filed, and my phone, I think I have 4,000 videos on my phone alone that need to be downloaded and filed. So that's what nails to tail is I start downloading some of these, and it forces me to file them. So good morning, everybody. Let's see, we got Lisa, Beth, Eva, Shannon, Tim, June, Taryn, Megan. Megan, we miss you. Did I already say Sharon? Sharon, Ray, Mary, Daniela, Julie. Good morning. So I have to show this because this is just some of the things. I posted this on my personal Facebook page yesterday. I missed the alligators horribly. And a lot of times when I'm gone, or even like last night, I went to dinner by myself, and the person next to me was asking, "What do you do for a living?" A lot of times I just lie and say I'm a cashier somewhere, because once I tell them what I do, any opportunity of me eating my dinner is over. Because people will be like, "You train what?" And then they start telling me about their dogs and asking me behavior advice. And I'm just kind of like, I'm really just trying to relax here and eat my dinner. So why did I even bring that up? I don't even know. But I was eating dinner by myself last night, and somebody was like, "What do you do?" I was like, "I'm a cashier." Just leave me alone. So I came back and started training the alligators, and I just wanted to give a big shout out, um, because this is one of many things that the keepers at the zoo did to surprise me. Good morning, Joanna. While I was gone, they spruced up not mine. They spruced up the alligator exhibits, and they're like, "Watch this. Don't say a word. Wait till Laura comes back and goes into the exhibit." And it made me happy. It made me so happy I wanted to cry. And I always cry. I'm a sorry sap. But the alligator, and this is only showing part of it. They've got logs on the other side. They planted plants, and just made me happy. Made me very happy, and that they would think of me while I was gone. So that is a photo to be filed. But I was looking at this photo last night, and I was like, wow, these alligators are getting big. I didn't realize how much they have grown in the past year until I saw this photo with some of them. This is about half of them out of the water. Just made me realize how big they're getting. But I jumped back in and started training them. I missed them so much. I was kind of like hopping over some of them, trying to get to the other part of the enclosure. And yesterday I went in and trained them again, and their cue. These were alligators that were afraid of me when I first started training them, and now they're so eager to come to me, not for hugs and kisses, but for the food that I have. But it was really cool. They know in order for me to come in their enclosure, and they know they get fed the good stuff when I walk in their enclosure. I can't have them all running to me at the door, or I can't get in. So it was really neat. So I've trained them all to station. When they see me, because I'm a conditioned reinforcer, I paired myself with the raw meat, and the only time they get raw meat is during training, and the only one that trains them is me. So my voice becomes a conditioned reinforcer. The sight of me becomes a conditioned reinforcer. The sound of the lock unlocking becomes a conditioned reinforcer. And yesterday, when I pulled up and they heard that lock go click, you saw they were all sunbathing like this. You saw them all they all looked towards the lock, and then they all all of them minus two, ran into the pond. And they know if they station in the pond, food starts magically falling from the sky, which is my hands. And then I will start calling them one by one out of the pond after they know clearly as a group they all 13 of them need to be into the pond. Does that make sense? That is applied behavior analysis at work, meaning using environmental events to control behavior. We all need to control behavior. And we have to keep our loved ones safe, whether it's the alligators, whether it's parrots, whether it's our children, whether it's our parents that we're taking care of. Control is not a bad word. How you're implementing that control is what truly matters. So in applied behavior analysis, you heard me say you use environmental events. Environmental events are anything in the area that you use to control behavior. So when I make food for them, or when the keepers help me make food for them, I like to use size of meat about like this, because I can chuck it in the pond from over the fence and they hear that bloop, it go in the water. That's their cue. Boom, food is in the water. It is not by the door. It is not. And there is one that I went in yesterday, and I don't tell animals no. I just identify reinforcers, especially for the behavior, especially if it's an undesired behavior, and I try to withhold positive reinforcers until I see a desired behavior, and then I reinforce that. We have to control the animals we care for because it helps keep them safe. And then we can help share education through the training of those animals by showing how we're implementing the use of applied behavior analysis and positive reinforcement, showing that you do not need to force an animal to do something. You can train them to do what you need them to do and to want to do what you need them to do. When we know better, we do better. And when we use force to control behavior, it's usually a couple different reasons. One is we don't know any better. A lot of people are brought up with using force to control behavior. Coercion is the primary form of behavior control today, according to B.F. Skinner, meaning do it or else. And when we're using coercion to control behavior, it's usually because we don't know. We don't have enough education to understand how we can do differently and how productive it is to get the behavior you want to do differently by reinforcing desired behaviors and shaping training new behaviors. Another reason people use coercion or force is because they simply don't care. And if you don't care, it will show. It will show because behavior doesn't lie. And another reason some people use force and coercion is because the alternative of not using it is worse in an emergency situation. And that I will do. I will use force or I don't use coercion. I will use force if the alternative of not using it in that particular instance is worse, meaning there's an emergency. Boom, I will force an animal to do something or force a person to do something. But then I also know the side effects of using force and coercion to control behavior, and none of them are productive, and usually take a lot longer and are inhumane. Um, when I find myself in a situation such as an emergency where I need to use force, I will say, note to self, don't do this again. This needs training. Um, so here's a picture we took the other day. Yes, I am getting the alligators to paint. We're using non-toxic children's paint, and I will target train the gators. I teach them to follow a target stick, and it tells them where to go. Sometimes I put it down in front of me. Sometimes I point it to my left, to my right. And when I'm wanting them to paint, which the public loves the paintings, and it helps bring that connection to children and people as to when they see the alligators being trained, they didn't know they could do that. It helps build respect between people and the animal and respect for their environment. And that's why I do things like these paintings. So I'll hold the target stick above the painting, and usually the painting's on the other side where the gator is. And they climb up the side of the painting to touch the target stick, and then they slide back down, and you get to see scales and claw marks, and it's pretty cool. Oh, I got this one the other day from one of my favorite gators. Oh, I got both of these. This one I did a couple weeks ago, about a week before I left on vacation. There's one, the big gators. You can see some of the scale marks underneath. And here's one I did just the other day. I thought this was pretty cool. Love those colors. Yep, he was right on top of this painting, and I taught him to touch the painting and swipe his head, the tip of his snout left and right. That's what this is. Pretty cool. So Daniela has a great question. Good morning, lovely Shelley Douglas. Daniela says, how do you call them one by one? Do they know their names? I don't even name them. I name one Archie because he jumps straight up in the air. So I'm like, okay, we'll get that on cue and show people how, yeah, alligators can jump and they can run a lot faster than you can. So what I do, Daniela, and I show this in our level 2 membership, is I've trained all the gators stationed in the water. Do not come out until I ask you to come out. And I will not ask one to come out until all 13 are stationing in the water. And then I hold, and this requires training 13 animals at once. I'm using high rates of reinforcement for reinforcing the ones that I want to stay in the water. Then I'll hold that target stick above one and slowly call them maybe 5-6 inches out of the water, bridge, reinforce, ask them to go back to the water. And as they're doing this, I'm bloom, bloom, dropping meatballs to all 12 other gators. And then I slowly pull them one further and further out of the water while I'm reinforcing all 12 others for staying in the water. I'll train this one to come out, do whatever I need it to do, and then ask it to go back to the water and make sure, especially in your shaping plans, that the contingencies there. If this, then this. If this, then this. That's how I do that. Daniela, great question. Sharon says, okay, so I need to imagine that my dogs are gators when training them to station. Maybe I would take smaller steps and shape behavior patiently. Yeah, I am not a patient person, Sharon. And a lot of times I hear from people, oh gosh, you must be so patient to do that. I'm like, you're already doing it. You're doing it. You just don't realize what you're doing and maybe don't have full control over knowing what the next steps are. So over time, we slowly shape our dogs and our children to do all kinds of undesired behaviors. We just don't know that that's happening. a lot of times until you get a big behavior concern staring you in the face. And that is usually when you see that big behavior concern, that's when people say, oh my God, this just happened out of the blue. But if you're aware of it and aware of behavior, um, almost every single time when people tell me this and I start picking apart everything that's led up to this, I'm like, nope, no behavior happens for no reason. And I guarantee you, I can start picking out distant cues that this started happening. And that's when those little red flags should start going off before behavior becomes well practiced. Um, Identify the reinforcer behind the undesired behavior and stop delivery and deliver the reinforcer for alternative desired behaviors instead. Donna says, I guess I'm wondering, how do you leave the enclosure? Are they expecting raw meat? No, I'm thinking I've never had a problem leaving the enclosure. Yesterday I left the two big gators. I would pull them out of the water. They were training on land and I just turned around and walked out. Small gators, I usually like to cue them that the training session is over because I don't want them sitting there wondering, are we still being trained? Or should I still stay here? What am I supposed to be doing? I will usually redirect behavior. And yesterday I ended the training with the 13 gators by calling, I did have a couple outside, calling them all back to the water and delivering all these meatballs, throwing, and just sent them all swarming. Those meatballs fall to the bottom of the pond, so you'll see them, a lot of them starting to roll and go under the water, and it takes their attention off of me. Training session is over. I don't want to pair myself with any type of anxiety of animals not wanting the training session to be over, because studies show if you're actually using positive reinforcement, it's the animal's preferred form of enrichment. So a lot of animals won't want the training to stop. So when I end a training session, I usually redirect attention off of me, focused on something else that the animals are engaged with, whether that's a foraging toy, whether me dropping food in the bottom of their pond is a form of foraging. And then I just slowly remove myself from the equation, lock the gates, and I see no signs of stress. Okay. Lisa says we create our own monsters. Isn't that the truth? Good morning, Daphne. Let's see. I like your gator impersonation. What did I do? I don't remember what I did. Okay, got a couple more photos and videos. This one, let's see if this plays. This was a video of me taking Rico, my umbrella cockatoo, for a walk after work. Usually at the end of the day, I'll take him for a walk. And I was so excited to see him. We just, in the beginning, like I'll train him at the end of the day. I had to train, put the harness on. I have to train taking the harness off before I even take him out the door. Then it was stepping out the door 1 foot, 3 foot, 5 foot, and 200 feet around the front of the zoo, around the back of the zoo. And what is he going to do when he sees a camel, when he sees an alligator, when he sees a cavy, when he sees a giraffe? Paying really close attention to all that, because sometimes aversives, positive punishers, are so intense that it only takes that one time and boom, you have an undesired behavior issue, and it is extremely hard to change. So Rico I see undesired behavior from Rico when he sees the giraffes and when he sees the peacocks. So, but he's fine with the gators and all the primates. Anyways, so the other day, I've been working on this with him all summer. The other day, out the door we went, and I was walking a fast pace, and he was just fine sitting on my hand, never wants to fly off of me, and I have the harness on him, as a form of safety. I do not want him to fly, even though the harness is on him, and he doesn't want to fly. He wants to be with me. When he gets nervous, Sometimes he'll move from, I like him on my hand in front of me, and I put my hand like a fist because it fits their feet really well, and he can dig into my knuckles on both sides so he doesn't slip. Because if he slips off my hand, that can be an aversive that's paired with the harness, and then I'll start seeing biting of the harness, and I don't want to see any of that. I forgot what I was going to say. Oh, sometimes when he's on my shoulder, he just wants a different view. And sometimes I'm watching, like, are you nervous? When he climbs to my head, he's either nervous or he's done. So here we are. Let's see. Please play.
You think you're going?
There we go.
What do you think? What are you doing? What are you doing? Mr. Strut your stuff. Mr. Strut your stuff.
Outside of the KV. Actually, he's next to the peacock enclosure, is to the left. I stopped it because he started looking at the inside of the enclosure, and I wanted to stop that before he couldn't get in because I have a harness on him, but I didn't want him to even understand what that meant. So I take him for a walk every day. Oh my gosh, we're already a half hour into this. This photo was taken, this is using attention as a reinforcer. You'll hear me say many times. Well, before I move on, Sharon says, is avian flu still a threat where our parrots are outside? Yeah, avian influenza, I'm sure, is still out there. That's why I'm not putting my birds in aviaries. If they go outside, they're on me. They're with me. This is a photo showing that attention is one of the number one misused reinforcers. Is what causes, it's the primary reason why a lot of domestic animals lose their homes and are in shelters. It also, you can use attention as a positive reinforcer for behavior you want. This is zookeeper Madison Ball. Happy birthday. Today's her birthday. This was me right before the live stream, trying to get Rocky onto his play stand. And he wasn't stepping off of my hand for food. So Maddie was over here cleaning and feeding the hornbills. So I said, I know she is a person that Rocky really enjoys being around. So I said, will you lure him up with a pet? So she squatted in front of him. She's like, if you step up, I'll give you a pet. And boom, there he went. Right, Kyle? Bam, boom, there he went. Desired behavior completed, reinforcer delivered. So the amount of time. Now, if Madison were to stand up and immediately walk away, I guarantee you it would positively punish the behavior of the next time Rocky's stepping up. So I asked her, will you stay there for 1 minute, delivering the reinforcer? And she did. So the next couple of photos to end this live stream, I pulled these are some older photos, and I think these are from 2014. Daphne says, I like the title, Random Acts of Training. Thank you. These are photos of one of the most fabulous veterinarians I've ever met in my life, Dr. Tim Reichert. He is a well-known zoo vet. Anyways, he used to be the primary vet here at the Animal Behavior Center before he started retiring. And he's getting gloved up, ready to do temperature taking on Levi, our deaf dog. But I needed to pull these files and file them away. And this is Sandy Pratt, a volunteer that's been with the Animal Behavior since day one, getting ready to deliver the reinforcer, which is a meat spread in a tube. And here he is getting his temperature taken. And high rates of reinforcement in one end, not the other. Here is Dr. Tim again, performing an ear examination on Levi, our deaf dog, and I'm delivering the reinforcer in the mouth at the same time. So some people might say, oh, so you always have to have treats. I'm like, no, you don't have to have treats. Sometimes we use it attention. But why would you not want to reinforce this fabulous desired behavior? The dog isn't struggling. The dog isn't nervous. It's not trying to get away. There's no negative associations paired with the veterinary exam. That's why. Okay. Well, with that being said, that brings us to the end of the half hour. We'll see you next Sunday at 9:30. I don't remember what the topic is, but if you like the content of these live streams, take a look at our services on our website, theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. Level 1 is annual virtual memberships for people with companion animals. Level 2 is more intense content for people wanting to get in the field of animal training, applied animal behavior, professional animal trainers, board certified behavior analysts, zookeepers, wildlife rehabbers. We also have our projects, which are species specific. The Parrot project is extremely popular. Those are also annual memberships and contain a lot of things such as activities, podcasts, interviews with other professionals in the field. Thank you, Daphne. We also have our webinars, which you can find at theanimalbehaviorcenter.com. And stay tuned. We're getting ready to live stream a couple of webinars. We have a webinar coming up in level 2 that's of no charge, and it's on animal husbandry and grooming training with exotics in the zoo field. You are very welcome, Beth. Thank you for all the great work you do here at the center, Beth. I appreciate you. With that being said, everybody have a great Sunday. Is today a holiday? I don't know. Hi, Rico. And I will see you next week on Coffee with Critters. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a good weekend.